Hello, this is Yummy Pajama Man, and today we will be learning about logical operators and Boolean variables in Python. So let's learn about that. So logical operators, you know what operators are. They are, what operands in between the operators. And I've already written out the source code itself, as you can see, so we can save a lot of time that way. That way I don't have to write it out over and over again. So Python provides logical operators which you use to create Boolean expressions. Okay, so in here we've worked with if, elif, else prior to this video, and so what we're going to learn is the expressions and the logical operator and, or, and not right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through this and go line by line within the function. So the first line, you know what this is. You're just defining your payroll. We're defining the definition before we call the function named payroll right here. So we've learned about that. And then we go into the first line, print. You print this statement. You got your three variables, and we use an input function right here. I asked the question, made sure to put a space right here. Ask a question. I made sure to put a space right here because that's when the user enters his data. And then I use a float function, built-in function, to change whatever the user inputted to be a float, and then whatever the user inputted here to be an integer. So that's why I put float and int right here. So then they're all assigned in the variable pay, and then the next line, the variable named hour. And then you know what this is. This is a string literal assigned to name. So you know all that. So we're going to go into the if clause. So if pay is greater than or equal to 30, right? So this is the expression like I've talked about before, and this is also a expression as well. So these two are expressions, or they can also be seen as sub-expressions. So and then there's this and logical operator that separates the two expressions here and here. So let's say if I inputted this, I said my pay was like 40, and then my hours were 40. So it would say if 40 greater than or equal to 30, this is true. And then I said 40 is greater than or equal to 40, this is true. So that means these two sub-expressions, all of this will return true. So it'll be if true. Since this whole expression is true, it will go to this block of code. Okay. And if I did like pay 20 right here, so if 20 greater than or equal to 30, that's obviously false. And then if I did like 40 for hour, this would be true. So the sub-expression here would return false if I did pay for 20. And if I did hour for 40, this sub-expression would be true. So we have a false sub-expression here, and then a true sub-expression here. But since we're using the operator and, both of these sides have to be true in order for this whole expression to be true. And since the whole expression is true, you obviously know that it'll go into the block of code. If not, it'll check the next, elif. You've learned about that before, and etc., etc. As you notice, I did if, elif, if. And so what it's doing is it's checking either this choice or this choice and nothing else. You don't have to use the else clause. You can do if, elif. You can use if, else, or you can just use if clause, if that'll rejolt your memory. So that's the and logical operator. So both sub-expressions must be true to execute block. And then the or logical operator, one or both must be true to execute block. Okay, so if I said that, let's say it's 25 here and then 25 here, so that means that this expression would return false altogether. So I go down to here, and so I say I entered pay here for 25, hour 25, so that means 25 less than 30, yes. 25 is less than 40, yes. So this expression here will return true. This expression here will return true. That means since both of these return true, this whole expression now returns true. So that means this block of code will execute. But Now we have something special. We're using the OR logical operator. So that means only one or the other can be true, or both can be true to execute. So this can be true, this can be false to execute, this can be true, this can be true to execute, this can be false, this can be true to execute. So each one of these expressions have to at least have one true expression for it to execute down here with the OR logical operator. So it should be intuitive enough to think about that, to know the difference between and or. You have to have both, or you have to have one or the other to execute the block of code. And then finally we have not. I'm using the if clause again, so when after this first clause, there's only two choices for these, is either this one or this one. And after it makes this choice between these two, it'll go down to here and it's given either this choice or nothing at all. Okay? These aren't run together all together. These two pair with each other. This is by itself. If you can see that. So down here with the if clause, I've used the not operator. So what the not operator does, it reverses the expression's value. So this is an expression right here. It'll either return true or false. And so it'll return a false, obviously, because Drew does not. If Drew equals to Yummy, that's not true. So this whole expression is false. But since I used the not operator, it'll change that false expression to true, and then it'll print out Yummy in the block of code. And then down here, you obviously know I'm calling the function after I define it, and that's pretty much it. So let's see if it runs. So yeah, run module. So I'll do like 40 enter 40. You are overworking, so it goes to this block of code. It does the calculations, and then it'll give me the output. Your gross is 1600, and then it goes down to here because what I've talked about before. This doesn't belong with these two choices. It's by itself. It's either this one or not. So as you can see that. So we'll run it again. So run module, and we'll go to the next. We'll make sure this executes. So we need like 1010. Right, 1010. Okay, so then it executes you are okay, does the calculations, and then gives me the print. Gross is 100 for my pay rate. And then it goes down to here since this whole expression returns true. After the not operator changes this false expression to true. That's why it prints Yummy down here. Okay. Just remember that each one of these are expressions, and they will return either true or false. And then depending by that, you have all of this which will return an expression of either true or false, depending on whether this is true or false, 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 true, 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 false, false, true. And then down here it's all false, true, true, yada, yada, yada. So that should be pretty straightforward using the logical operators. Another cool fact about this before I go, short circuit evaluation. So when the program is running, there is a short circuit evaluation. So if the left expression for this one, for example, with the AND operator is false right here, it won't evaluate this side because obviously it's false and it doesn't need to check the other side. Whereas for OR, if this expression is true, it doesn't have to check for the other side because this expression is true. So, and that's the short circuit evaluation. It'll skip the other side depending on what I just said before. So that's the short circuit evaluation. Now finally, we're going to go into explicitly stating the true or false in the expression. So we can do Control A and then backspace, and then we'll do something pretty simple. So we'll do like hungry assignment operator true. Make sure to capitalize, and then we'll use the if clause. If hungry, colon, so we'll go into the block of code, print parentheses, parentheses, and then 2 single quotes, and then we'll do you are hungry, period. So what we just did, as compared to before, we're explicitly using the keyword true. Okay, so since the variable is assigned, well, the variable is holding the keyword true, so that means if true, colon, it'll obviously print you are hungry. And then else, we can do an else. Else, we don't have to state an expression. Print you are not hungry. And that should be pretty straightforward. And yeah, there you go. So you are hungry because if true, you are hungry. I can change this to false. F-A-L-S-E. Go to File, Save, Run Module, and then it changes to the next block of code. You are not hungry, because if false, it'll go to the else clause automatically, like we've learned before. So that's it. So we learned about logical operators and Boolean variables. With the logical operators, you can state multiple expressions and evaluate each expression depending on whether it's true or false, which will give you the ultimate expression within the if, else, elif, or else clause. So there we go. That is it. I'll see you in the next tutorial.